In no time, the jungle gives way to scrub, to subalpine shrubs, to tundra-like grasses on the Tibetan plateau. The plateau is an enormous benchland along the northern flanks of the Himalayas. Most of it is above 14,000 feet. The climate is desert, much like the Arctic, with a brief 2-month growing season. Eking out an existence here is no easy thing. Life expectancy is about 40. Many Tibetans live as nomads, others practice subsistence agriculture. A pause en route for the expedition is a bit like stepping into a friendly stone heap. These people had never heard a tape recording in their lives. Shigar, last town before Everest. Here, as everywhere in Tibet, the Buddhist spirituality of the people is evident. The Chinese annexed Tibet in 1950 and imposed communist rule on a land where 1/4 of all men were monks. Thousands of Tibetans were killed. Over 6,000 monasteries were destroyed. In 1960, the Chinese mounted an Everest attempt of their own. First step, forced Tibetans to build this road from Shigar, over 100 kilometers to the mountain. In 1980, they opened it to Westerners. The expedition reaches the Pangla Pass in the foothills, over 16,000 feet.
All right, guys.
A little lightheadedness seems in order.
Headstand. Into a handstand.
For the first time, they glimpse Everest. But now the effects of altitude are being felt. Headaches, difficulty breathing, increasing heart rate, loss of energy. A slow process of physical and mental deterioration has begun, which, given time, will end in death. From this point on, the expedition becomes a race against time. One surprising monk and a bend or two later, and there she is, Everest. At her feet, the Rongbuk Monastery, highest inhabited place on earth, built to worship the mountain nearly 2,000 years ago. The monks invite the expedition in for tea. They serve a concoction laced with salt and yak butter. It is roughly 5 kilometers from Rongbuk to base camp. People prepared to risk their lives on Everest would rather walk than ride at certain points along the way. For years, the focus of their efforts has been this bleak expanse of gravel. Base camp at Everest. The mountain extends a cool welcome as they struggle against altitude, reached too quickly, and cutting wind. They are now 17,000 feet above sea level. The snow should be letting up by now. They try the phone for the first time.
Got an answering machine.
Oh, it's got an answering machine.
Yeah.
Ain't technology marvelous? They try another number.
Eric Hobson, this is your brother Alan Hobson at Base Camp Mount Everest. Not that you can think of at 4 o'clock.
That box of equipment they packed from Canada to Asia, from Nepal to Tibet, and all the way to base camp at Everest, surely one of the world's most remote locations, lets them dial home direct.
Cheers.
It's nothing short of miraculous. The days of waiting at base camp, of watching the mountain and her changing moods, are time well spent acclimatizing to altitude. Their lives depend on how well they adjust. The team doctors conduct a seminar.
Extensions of AMS. Pulmonary edema is fluid in the lungs. So in other words, your weak point are your lungs. Cerebral edema, you get swelling of the brain.
Even as they listen, cells are swelling in their brains and lungs. Pressure is growing in retinal capillaries. Death can occur 6 hours after symptoms appear.
Here. There are windows for the poor person inside to look out and hopefully not experience too much claustrophobia.
The Gamma bag is a quick fix for emergencies, like being inside a pumped-up air mattress, good for a simulated drop of a few thousand feet. The question why do they try, remains unanswered as ever. Except at this time, there is a reason we can comprehend. Another mystery to solve. Half a world away, a young girl, and thousands like her. Time for wives and friends to head down. Less time spent up here, the better. A hard parting for some, a fear of last farewells. Hardest parting of all, perhaps, for the father of a young girl in Toronto.
When you're faced with the reality of your dream, it just feels really good. I feel the team's fantastic. We're in front of the mountain, and all we have to do is step up to the top. I wish them all the best. All the best. Take care, guys.
Thanks, Ernie. Thank you, Ernie. Have a good trip back.
Bye.
Okay.
He was ordered down by the doctor. It shouldn't be snowing like this. The monsoons should be ending. In the eyes of Tibetans, Everest is a goddess to be appeased before violating her sanctity. The Sherpas asked the monk to come and pray for the climbers, a gift of profound faith and fear. They raise prayer flags to appease the mountain. On a rise above base camp, team members find good reason to respect the mountain. Previous teams erected the markers in memory of members they left behind. Most recent, an Austrian who died this year above the North Col, on the route the Canadians will take. They had asked the Chinese for 45 yaks. The herders arrived with 30, which promptly took over the campsite. With the arrival of too few yaks, the team has to revamp freight plans for the trek to advanced base camp. Several tons of gear and supplies are batched and loaded. How these animals pack such loads over rough, rising country at altitudes with less than half the oxygen at sea level is astonishing.
When I was a little baby, my mama would rock me in the cradle. In those old cotton fields back home, cotton fields back home.
The expedition moves into moonscapes of moraine through rills and eskers of gravel spawned by Everest. Their route lies up the East Rongbuk Glacier for some 15 kilometers. The trek will take 2 days. On the second day, under a closer looming Everest, they reach the foot of the North Col icefall and the site of the advanced base camp. The work of setting up advanced base camp looks easier than it feels. It lies at over 21,000 feet, about the same altitude flown by intercity commuter jets. One consolation for the cook, bread rises phenomenally under low atmospheric pressure. But it takes a half an hour to boil an egg.
It sits somewhere on that slab later.
These people are proven mountaineers. Their footprints are on many of the world's highest peaks. Yet still, they must wait to acclimatize. Let their systems catch up with altitude. The Sherpas are better off in this respect. Their genetics evolved where they live at 13,000 feet. Few Everest expeditions would succeed without their support. The team meets to